Greetings, acolytes of the Force, and welcome back to the Stupendous Wave. Darth Nihilus was and is one of the deadliest Sith Lords in all of the galaxy's entire history and lore. Succeeding Darth Revan and Darth Malak in the Old Republic era timeline, Nihilus would seemingly appear out of nowhere and wielded tremendous powers. Nihilus then proceeded to dismantle the entirety of the Jedi Order, enacting a great Jedi purge, and put the galaxy almost completely under his sole rule. Darth Nihilus, by his own power alone, nearly single-handedly dismantled the Jedi Order, enacting a Jedi purge just as deadly as Order 66 and with just as many survivors. The reign of Darth Nihilus was one of the most depressing in galactic history, and hardly anyone who rose against him, even his own mentor, could manage to get any headway with the Lord of Hunger. By this point, his inner cravings had grown so great that his body had all but disintegrated by the Force energies, leaving behind his malevolent spirit. Nihilus was no longer a physical being. The spirit had to maintain some facsimile of corporeal form, however, so he performed a ritual to bind his power and his spirit to his robes, armor, and his Sith mask. This way, Nihilus could still continue to learn the ways of the Force and retain the ability to wield a lightsaber. Eventually, however, all must die, as he was defeated by the Jedi Exile and their companions. As that happened, Nihilus's empire would crumble and his artifacts scattered to the wind. Or at least most of them did. Which brings us to the subject of today's video. Our archaeologists have been scouring the galaxy and combining every backwater planet and library to figure out what exactly happened to Darth Nihilus's mask. The Mask of Nihilus is his most recognizable feature. In an ocean of pitch black robes, the only thing of color was the mask that Nihilus wore. It was considered to be a cursed artifact, and it was soon lost to history. But we want to follow the trail to exactly where Darth Nihilus's mask is and where it went. So come along with us today, my fellow spacefarers, and let us take a deep dive into what happened to the mask of Darth Nihilus, Lord of Hunger. The Mask of Nihilus was noted as being an object of considerable power, as it was believed that upon donning the mask, any non-Force sensitive would immediately be granted the powers of the Force itself on the levels of a Sith apprentice, making it extremely valuable. All things considered, this is a strong connection to the Force because, as many of you may know, Sith apprentices were trained to be around the same power level as a Jedi Knight. If those who already wielded the Force, such as a Jedi or Sith, were to don the Mask of Nihilus, it would instantly increase their potency in the Force and grant them powerful abilities in the dark side. As far as Sith go, though, it would increase their potency in the dark side overall. The drawback, though, was that it was believed that the wearers of the mask would begin to seek out flesh and self-destructive behaviors for the sake of power, inheriting the hunger of Nihilus. They would become greedy and insatiably covetous of power, or whatever their hearts desired. Essentially, it not only increased one's ability in the Force, but it magnified their personal hunger for whatever they desired almost tenfold. As such, the tale of Darth Nihilus's mask spread throughout the galaxy, and many would not even want to touch it or seek it whatsoever, for fear that it would turn them into a rabid animal, enslaved to their own desires, just as Nihilus had been. Although he commanded great power, Darth Nihilus was not a happy being at all. But that is what the Mask of Nihilus did, but where exactly did it go? Immediately after Nihilus's death, the mask fell into possession of the Jedi Exile, and would travel with them for assumably the rest of their life, unless they attempted to get rid of it at some point in time. The mask most likely floated around the galaxy for quite some time before it was actually recovered on the planet of Volek in the unknown regions. As a side note, all of the information moving forward is sourced from the Star Wars role-playing game by Wizards of the Coast. A band of adventurers found themselves deep within the coven of Mount Verena, where they came across a crashed starfighter once belonging to some smugglers. Within the wreckage, the infamous mask of Darth Nihilus was found. From here, we aren't exactly sure what happened to the mask, but it likely remains with one of the adventurers who recovered it unless they had experienced its terrible power and chose to bury it somewhere safe. This is another popular theory about the mask, that it was actually buried on the world of Volek, and that the adventurers did seek its power initially, but upon coming across it completely changed their minds, as although some of them were not Force sensitive, they could still sense and feel the latent power and destructive abilities within the Mask of Nihilus, an echo of his spirit still screaming out, clinging to what Nihilus may have called life. This is why the popular theory remains that the adventurers likely buried the mask of Darth Nihilus where no one else could find it. However, this does not stop others from venturing to the world of Volek and the unknown regions in search of power. There is no specific date that it was recorded when the mask was found. However, Mount Verena was named after the dead wife of Jedi Master Doran Sel-Ol, who left the Jedi Order around the era of the Clone War. By this loose thread, we can make the assumption that it had to been post-Clone Wars by the time the mask was finally found, meaning that it was likely passed around the galaxy for thousands of years. For over 3,960 years, the mask just floated out in the galaxy, being moved around by one person or another. Essentially, think of it as the Ring of Power. Buried, discovered, moved, and hidden again. It isn't a surprise that billions of star systems and trillions of people in the galaxy that the mask had been so hard to find, and it's surprising that it was ever found at all, even if it did occur past the era of the Clone War. But the Force has a way with things, especially the dark side. The artifact of the mask was so powerful in the Force that it likely called upon the weak-willed to take it and venture where it wanted to go. Again, very similar to the Ring of Sauron. But my friends, what do you think of this? And what do you think of the fate of Nihilus's mask? Hopefully one day in the lore, we can all discover where Nihilus's mask went following his death. If you or someone you know played the Star Wars RPG game and used the scenario in the Unknown Regions sourcebook, what did you or your adventuring party do with the mask of Darth Nihilus? Was it righteous, or did you use it for malevolent purposes? And as always, my friends, thank you guys so much for watching the channel as we open up daily holocrons, this time about the mask of Nihilus. May the Force be with you, and I hope that you all have a great day.